Hello students, I'm here with another video from the chapter of class 10th Science NCERT book, that is from the chapter Life Processes. Before starting today's video, I would like to tell you all that till now what all things we have discussed in this chapter. So children, we have discussed the first life process, that is the processes which are necessary for maintaining the life of any organism, that is said to be as life process. So there are various examples of life processes such as the nutrition, the circulation, respiration. Okay, then after that we have to study about excretion. So in this chain we have studied the first life process, that is the nutrition in plants and animals. So we have started with the plants, nutrition in plants, where we saw that plants undergo the autotrophic mode of nutrition. They take up autotrophic mode of nutrition, and then after that, if the plants are non-green or if they are not green in color, then what happens? They are going to follow some different other modes of nutrition, which includes the saprophytic mode of nutrition, which includes the parasitic mode of nutrition, and also it includes the symbiosis. So in the last class we have talked about the symbiosis, children, and which means that it is a relationship between the plants, different organisms. It could be the minimum two organisms are required. So if two plants are there, for example, we took the example of the lichens, where the algae and fungi, two members are there. Both these members were living together, so they are benefiting each other. So here the help is being done. Help is being provided to each other. Okay. Once these organisms are living together, they are going to share their food, as well as they are going to share their food and shelter. And if any relationship which is for the sharing of, for benefiting each other by the sharing of food and the shelter, this is said to be as the symbiosis. Okay, here we have studied about the example of lichen, which is again one of the plant. It is a modification of plant where these two are living. One member is algae and the other member is fungi. So both of these, algae and fungi, they are living together to mutually benefit each other. So what happens here? This algae is a green member which undergoes the autotrophic mode of nutrition. It provides food to this fungi which is living with it, and in return, this fungus is going to get the shelter, food, as well as this is going to give water to algae for the preparation of the food. Okay, so with this, the nutrition in animal is completed, and then we have seen the different. We have also seen the different again, that autotrophic mode of nutrition. It has very complex processes where we saw that many conditions are necessary for the photosynthesis. So the sunlight is necessary, carbon dioxide is necessary. Then we saw that the presence of water is also required, presence of chlorophyll is required. Okay, so with all these conditions which are necessary is also going to affect the rate of photosynthesis. So rate of photosynthesis, it completely depends upon these conditions, where if the conditions are less, if the sunlight is not proper, if water is not properly provided, or the carbon dioxide is greater in its I mean, if it is more in its number, in its quantity, then what happens? The photosynthesis is going to be affected. Okay, so that is what is the rate of photosynthesis is going to be affected by the presence and the absence of its raw material. And it is but obvious, if any reaction has to go on, then what happens? If any reaction will have to take place, then this reaction will always be dependent upon the presence and the absence of the raw material. If raw material is only not present, then how can the reaction be completed? Similar thing is happening with a chemical reaction, as this photosynthesis is also a chemical reaction where the raw materials are required. So if raw materials are not present, it means that the this one, photosynthesis is not going to take place. Okay, so with this, your nutrition in plant is completed, and now we'll start with a new topic, that is the nutrition in animals. Okay, so we'll go on to the part second of this chapter, that is nutrition in animals. Okay, so we will study about the nutrition in animals here. So in this, as we have studied about the plants, so we'll study about the animals also. So here in this, animals undergo the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, they undergo heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now children, if animals we are talking about, so here animals could be of two types. Animals could be of two types. One could be the lower animal and the other could be the higher animal. So if we talk about the lower organisms, if we talk about the lower animals, as we talked about the mode of nutrition in plants, where we have studied about the mode of nutrition in the green plants as well as non-green plants. So in non-green plants, the simpler plants are going to come like fungi and algae. Okay. Similarly, in animals also, we'll first study about the lower organism, then we'll go on to the higher organism. In lower organism, we have to study about the nutrition in amoeba. Okay, then in side by side, I'll tell you some more new types of nutrition in various animals. The next is the higher organism, that is in humans. We will study about the humans, fine. So what is said as this higher organisms, we have to study about the human beings. Okay, the next thing here we'll start with this topic, that is nutrition in animals. Now I'll say the same thing, that animals, why they require food, and are they going to make their own food? So the question is, can the animal make their own food? So the answer, it's very easy, that the animals are not able to perform photosynthesis, and that is why they are not able to make their own food, and that is why they have to undergo this heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So this definition only says heterotrophic mode of nutrition. It means that other purpose, the other means are there for getting food. Animals are able to get their food from other animals or from the plants. So animals are of different types, as you all know, they are of different types. So if the animals are undergoing the various modes of nutrition, all those modes would be this heterotrophic. That would be one of the category of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay. Now the next thing is that in this heterotrophic mode of nutrition, what modes are being followed by these animals? What type of modes are going to be followed by these animals? Okay, so we have discussed about the situation where the nutrition in plants is required, and for the nutrition in plants it will undergo photosynthesis, but the story is changed over here in the case of the animals, where the animals are also surrounded by such inorganic substances like water, like the salts, like minerals. Okay, they are also being surrounded by carbon dioxide and oxygen, all these things, but still they are not able to undergo photosynthesis, as they are getting the sunlight. Also they are eating the green plants. So why this is so, that plants are able to do photosynthesis, but these animals are not able to perform photosynthesis? So the reason is very simple, that these plants, they have the tendency, they have the machinery to to take up these inorganic material and then undergo a process called photosynthesis, as they're having the green pigment which could trap sun's energy. But we don't have such chlorophyll, we don't have such coloring pigment in us. For that, we cannot get the food which can be synthesized from the body of the inside the body of these animals. So we are dependent upon the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition means we are dependent upon the plants for our food, we are dependent upon other animals for our food. Okay, but in the case of animals, there could be the different ways by which they could obtain the food. How they can obtain the food, children? It's again very simple, that in heterotrophic mode of nutrition we have studied about the mode that is known to be as the parasitic mode of nutrition. So we have to study about the parasitic mode of nutrition. We can study about the saprophytic mode of nutrition, or it could be saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, parasitic mode of nutrition, saprophytic mode of nutrition, and even in the animals we can also see symbiosis. Okay, but both the animals are there, two animals are living together for mutual benefit, for benefiting each other. That is said to be a symbiosis. Here also the definitions would remain same, the concept would remain same. Okay, now the animals, they can obtain their food from plants or other animals. Since animal cannot make their own food, they depend upon the ready-made food. Please remember how we are going to get the food. We are dependent upon the ready-made food. Okay, so from where is this ready-made food being obtained? This is being obtained either from the plants or from the animal products. Okay, because in plants also we know that in plants the food is being stored inside the various parts of the plant, such as roots, stem, leaves. All these are the parts. So what happens? They are going. What will happen? They will be. What will happen? They are going to gain their nutrition from the various forms of the food which is being obtained from plants as well as the animals. Okay. Now the ready-made food comes either from the plant or from the other animals. The animals obtain their food from plants or other animals which they eat. Okay. Now, where we human beings are also coming under the category of animals. So we obtain our food like wheat, rice, pulses, fruits, vegetables from the plants, and food like milk, curd, cheese, egg are obtained from the animals. So such people who eat some people, they also eat meat, chicken, and fish as food. So these foods are also obtained from animals. So we can say that animals as well as human beings is also considered to be as animals. So they are also obtaining their nutrition from the animals, from the animal products or from the plant products. Okay, we directly eat up the plant in the form of the raw material, like in the form of salad we eat, by cooking the food also we eat. Okay, so we are dependent upon the plants for the nutrition. Okay, now many animals, they obtain their food by eating flesh or other animals. Example, fish, birds, snakes, and insects, all these obtain their food from the other animals. And the big fish eats small fish, and the bird is going to eat the worms, the insects, the snake eats frog and insects and the dead bodies of the animals. Okay, the non-green plants which cannot make their own food, they are dependent upon the saprophytic mode of nutrition. Similarly, the animals are also said to be as saprophytes. Some of the bacteria are there which is undergoing the saprophytic mode of nutrition. Okay, so we can easily understand that there are various modes of nutrition in the animals also, including human beings. Okay, so with this, the animals like pitcher plant and the Venus flytraps are the two plants which eat insects. Okay, all the animals can be divided into three groups. Their food habits or food eating habits. Then after that, what happens? Herbivorous and carnivorous animals are there, as well as the omnivorous animals are there. So if we talk about the types of animals, we can see that there are various types of animals. Now, what are these types of animals? So the types of animals which we can see here is the three types of animals. Everybody knows this because this is again we are studying since our lower classes, where you know that there are types of animals. How many types of animals are there? What are the types of animals? First one is the herbivores. Then second is carnivores. Then third is the omnivores. Okay, so herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores, these are the three categories of the animals, where the herbivores, they are the plant eating animals. Okay, they are the plant eating animals. Carnivores are the flesh eating animals, and omnivores are eating both flesh and plants. Okay, fresh and plant eating animals. So if we talk about these three types of the animals, we can say that the herbivores are those animals which are eating plants and their plant products. Okay, some of the animals which always eat plants, they are always eating the plants and the plant product, they are said to be as the herbivorous animals. Okay, such as cow, buffalo, goat, okay, sheep. So many other herbivorous animals are present. Then carnivorous animals are those which are going to eat the flesh. Okay, so the flesh eating animals are always said to be as the carnivores, as they depend upon the other animals. Okay, so we are talking about the heterotrophic mode. Please remember this. So if we are talking about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, which means that the plant animal will be dependent upon either on the plant product, or means if we talk about the animal, we are talking about the animals, which means that it is undergoing the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And in the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, either these animals are going to be dependent upon plant product, or they are dependent upon the animal products, or they are directly dependent upon the plant or animal in as such. Okay, for example, if we are talking about these types of animals, they are dependent upon the animals directly, because they are going to eat the flesh. Okay, we are human beings, we are not directly, we are dependent upon the animal products, we are dependent upon the milk, we are dependent upon eggs, we are dependent upon the different flesh also, but we are not eating it raw, we are eating it after cooking. So we are dependent upon the plant and its products. Similarly, we depend upon the plants as such, so we are depending upon the plant products like which is being given by the plants. We depend upon the roots, we depend upon the stem, we depend upon the vegetables, fruits, all these are the plant products. Okay, similarly, if we talk about these omnivorous animals, they're also dependent upon the plants and the animal product which is being provided by the plants. They eat both flesh as well as the plants. Okay, so this was all about the different types of animals, children. So here the omnivorous, see, we have seen the link between, or we have already studied about the, there is a connectivity between these animals. So what is that connectivity between these animals? So these animals, they are going to be studied the relationship between these animals or plants. Okay, so this we have already studied under the food chain, under the heading of food chain, where this is one animal is a food for the other animal. Okay, so we start with plants. Is eaten up by the herbivorous animals. Okay, then it is herbivorous animal is eaten up by the carnivorous animal. So this carnivorous animal is eaten up by top carnivores. So we can see that there is a link between, there is a relationship between these plants and the animals. Okay, so which could be studied under the food chain, and once we have studied this also. Now we will be studying about the different, now the energy is getting transferred. Why there is a link between? Because there is the energy transfer is taking place. The main motto regarding the food, the main motto regarding the uptake of intake of the food we are taking in food, why we are taking in food, what is the reason behind this, why we are taking in food. The very simple reason that each and every plant and animal, all these are taking in food because we are are dependent upon the food just for the for taking up the energy. Okay, so if we take up this, we are taking in food, it means that it is going to serve some functions. So what functions are being served by the plant, by the food, we can easily recall from your lower classes where we have already studied about the process by which the animals are gaining the food, as well as why the food is important. So what is the importance of food? If we talk about the importance of food, it could be it provides us energy, very first thing. Then it helps the body to build, it builds the body. Okay, then after that it also repairs, it provides energy, it is going to provide us nutrients, it provides us nutrition. Okay, so there are many, the list is very long. I'm just writing the very superficial, some of the basic functions of the food. So energy is being given by the food. Now children, we have to study about how this energy is being given to the animals. We have talked about the plants, we'll talk about the animals now. So how is this energy getting transferred from the plant and the food products to the body of the organism? So this is what is all about the nutrition chapter. This is what is all about the topic of the nutrition. Okay, now we will study about how this energy is going to be transferred from the food products to the body of the organism. Okay, so how it is happening, we can easily understand. So if we talk about, so we are talking about the nutrition, and then nutrition means it is a complete process of taking enough food, then from the food the energy is being synthesized. So this is what we need to study here. So the process of obtaining food, then it is being converted in the form of energy, the body is being grown, then the repair of the body is taking place. All these would be studied under the process called nutrition. Okay, now what are the main steps of nutrition? Okay, we can write down the steps of nutrition over here. Steps of nutrition in animals. As I told you that the steps of nutrition in animals, it depends upon, it is divided. The animals could be of two types: the lower organisms and the higher organisms. Okay, the lower organisms or the higher organisms. Now children, if we talk about the lower organisms and higher organisms, the steps would remain same. The steps of nutrition is going to be remaining, they are going to be same. So what are the steps of nutrition? The step of nutrition is, the first one is the ingestion. Then the second step is digestion. The third step is the absorption. The fourth step is assimilation. And the fifth step is the excretion. Okay, so after taking in food, then what happens? After the uptake of food in the lower and the higher organisms, what happens? The food is getting ingested, it is getting digested, then it is getting absorbed, then it is getting assimilated, and lastly the ingestion is taking place. So these are the main steps of nutrition in higher as well as the lower plants. So if we talk about the lower plants, in animals, lower animals and the human beings, in the higher animals also, these basic steps would remain same. Okay, the basic steps would remain same. So what is this ingestion known to be as? In order to get energy, it is necessary to intake the food. Once we are not taking in food, then how that energy is getting transferred, or how this energy is going to be present in the body of the organism, how it is going to be converted? So it will be only be converted once the food is getting ingested. So how this ingestion is taking place? Ingestion takes place because by taking in food, intake of food is there, we take in food. Okay, Now, once the food is being taken in, then what happens? Ingestion means there are various modes of intaking of food. Some animals they some animals they eat the complete food. Okay, now I have also talked about the mode of nutrition where we studied about the Holozoic mode of nutrition. So, children, we are discussing about Holozoic mode of nutrition here. So what does this Holozoic word means? Holozoic means that the animals they take up their complete food. We are taking in rice, we are taking in wheat, we are taking in the vegetables and the fruits. We are not taking out the vitamins, we are not taking out the proteins, we are not taking out the carbohydrate from them. We are simply eating the complete food. So intake of complete food takes place. Intake of complete food is taking place. We are taking in rice, we are not taking out the carbohydrate and eating. Okay, we are eating the wheat, we are not taking out the carbohydrate from it and eating. We are simply intaking the complete food. We are taking a complete apple, we are not taking out the vitamins which are present over there. Okay, we are taking in the vegetables, we are not taking out the proteins, we are not taking out the nutrients from it and then eating up. We are simply taking the complete food. Please understand this, the meaning of the word Holozoic nutrition. So Holozoic word means the complete. Okay, so please remember we are studying about the Holozoic mode of nutrition which has these 5 steps. Now, food is a complex material. From this complex substance, from this complex matter, it has to be synthesized into simpler ones. It has to be converted into simple matter. Okay, so complex food material is converted into simpler food materials. For this, these 5 steps are required. Just for converting the food from the food from this complex material to the simple material, we require to have these 5 steps. All in each and every organism, it undergoes into these 5 steps. Okay, so the food is going to be ingested, we are eating the food, then it will be digested, it will be broken down into smaller portions. Now these smaller portions are getting absorbed by the cells, and after absorbing the energy, this energy has to be distributed. This is known to be as assimilation. And lastly, whatever is left behind, whatever is not getting digested, whatever is waste for the body, it is to be thrown out from the body by the process called egestion. Okay, excretion or egestion. So this was the 5 steps which is required for the nutrition in animals, for converting food which is a complex matter into a simpler matter. Okay, so this is what is about the nutrition in animals. So we'll discuss about the first step, that is ingestion. I have told you that we are intaking the food. So children, food could be of different types. Some animals they eat insects, some animals they are only eating the fluid part of the plant. They suck the sap, such as mosquitoes. Some of them are sanguinivores, some of them are coprophagous. Okay, so many names are there. So if the animals are there which is going to eat up, which is only sucking the sap, their mouth parts would be different. Some of them are filter feeders. For example, they take up the water inside their mouth, and then the small insects are getting ingested over inside them, and then it is being converted in the form of the small materials, and then the energy is being released. Filter feeding is there, siphoning is there. Okay, then sponging type mouth parts are there, such as for butterflies, they have a straw like structure present in their mouth, and they just insert the straw inside the leaves, inside the nectar of the inside the nectar of the flowers, and they suck up the nectar. Similarly, mosquitoes also have the sucking type of mouth parts, which is going to suck the blood of the animals, which is going to suck the blood of the human beings. Okay, so the food habits are different. And human beings are going to take up the Holozoic mode of nutrition, which means we are eating up the complete food. We are eating up the rice, we are eating up the vegetables, we are eating up the grains, and then the energy is getting synthesized from inside the body it is getting converted from the complex to the simpler matter, and then we can easily get the energy, the body grows, and the repair is taking place. Okay, now the next is digestion. After ingesting, the digestion takes place. Now what is this digestion? Digestion means breakdown. Okay, breaking of food. So the food particles are being broken down into small portions, into small pieces, which is being absorbed by the body of the animals. Then what happens? How is this digestion taking place? Digestion is taking place by the organ systems which is present. Okay, so we have digestive system in our body which is performing all these functions for us. Okay, similarly this absorption, after breaking down, the energy is synthesized, which is being absorbed by the nearby cells. It is being absorbed. Energy is synthesized and absorbed. Okay, so once the energy is being synthesized and it is being absorbed, it is after the absorption it is getting distributed. It is getting distributed. So once the energy is getting distributed, then what happens? The food material is broken down into smaller portions, then the energy is synthesized and absorbed, then it is getting distributed to the various cells. Okay, they are being distributed to the various cells. Next, whatever is present as waste or which is undigested. So what happens once it is getting undigested food material is there? So the undigested food particles or the waste material which is present in the body of the organisms, it is getting thrown out from the body of the organism by various processes. Again, we have a system for this. Okay, so we'll study about each of these structures, each of this process in details, and now we'll study about the different different mode of nutrition in the human beings, where Holozoic mode of nutrition we have to study. And for undergoing this Holozoic mode of nutrition, these 5 steps has to happen. And where is this 5 step is going to happen? This is going to be happened inside the digestive system. So children, in the next class I'm going to tell you about the process of ingestion, digestion, assimilation, absorption, then assimilation, then excretion in the various organisms. We'll start with the small organisms first, and then what happens in the higher organisms we will be studying this. Okay, so the modes of nutrition, the steps of nutrition will remain same, please remember, and the basic function of food will remain same. So if food is getting synthesized, then we can easily be understanding that complex material is getting converted into simpler materials, and for conversion we require these steps. Okay, so with this we have completed the chapter, children. Now I'll be discussing this part is being completed, and I'll be discussing more about regarding the nutrition in animals in the higher organism, as well as how it is taking place in amoeba and the simpler organisms in the next class. So children, that's all for today's video. I will meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be discussed, which would be related with the nutrition in the higher organisms as well as nutrition in the lower organisms, where we have to study about amoeba. Okay, so that's all for today. I will meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be discussed. Till then, I feel that you all should study from your book and please ask your questions in your online class. So that's all for today, children. I'll meet you in the next class.